You're watching Fantasy Studs and Suds, only on Fantasy Now Plus.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Studs and Suds, brought to you by Fantasy Now Plus and the Fins Talk Sports Network. I am the fantasy nobody, Jeffrey Crisp, and alongside of me is my co-host, CJ Pudge LaPage, as we come to you pre-recorded for this episode. Also, please note Fantasy Studs and Suds is now available on YouTube Music, Apple Music, and Spotify. We'd love to have you live, but if you cannot catch us live here on YouTube, take us along with you using YouTube Music, Apple Music, or Spotify. Our segments today will include Fantasy Studs. We continue our series on sophomore studs. Today, we're going to take a look at tight ends. Fantasy leagues, we discuss league finances. Fantasy priority, we're going to recap the mini camps. Our selections for beer of the week will be Fantasy Suds, and then our fantasy funds, the first weekend of Scott Fishbowl, and another segment of A or B. Hey there, Pudge, what's on your mind today?
Cincinnati. I can't wait. It's going to be a fun time meeting up with a bunch of people that we talk to daily, but we don't get to see and or have never met before. Good way to kick off the fantasy season. It'll be fun. That's what we got going on today, other than a little bit of work and packing. So.
Well, this will be my second time in what's that?
Tough life.
Tough. Yes. Very tough. Well, this will be my second season drafting in Cincinnati for Scott Fishbowl. I am very excited. Cincinnati is up to 10 divisions this year. So 120 people drafting, plus there's going to be a whole slew of other people just observing and participating in the festivities. So I'm really looking forward to Sunday at the Falling Warehouse in Cincinnati. And this is your first Scott Fishbowl. That's correct?
Yes, sir. That's my first.
So Scott Fishbowl is on a lot of people's minds this week. We'll talk about that near the end of the show. So let's kind of move on and we'll get started with our fantasy studs. We have reviewed running backs and wide receivers the last 2 weeks in our series of second-year players who may be poised for a leap in year two. Part 3 of this series will feature tight ends as Pudge provides his takes on the sophomore studs at the position.
So I want to start off with Ja'Tavion Sanders. He really had a up and down kind of season last year. I don't think that they have too much competition between Ted McMillan being a rookie, could be a target hog as far as Bryce Young's concerned. And then you have Adam Thielen, who is yet another year older. I know he's a nice security blanket for Bryce Young. He should be, I want to say, third in targets there. But if you're getting third in targets with his big body, he'll be pretty good as a back end flyer, tight end. I would really put him on a stash list for sure for those guys that are coming out. With Bryce Young's last 3 games, he had a QBR of 102 or higher. Sanders had 5 targets in the finale. He showed big playability against the Saints. He had a 46-yard grab. Those are the kind of intangibles we're looking for in guys that we really don't know what to do with. And I couldn't put Brock Bowers on this list. So it would have been cheating, and everybody knows what he is already. So I really thought that he was a good flyer for this year, especially with not much incoming competition.
I really expected more out of Sanders, and I actually thought I had more shares of Sanders in my leagues than what I really do. When I was looking back after we first talked about tight ends, I thought I was going to see him on 4, 5, 6 of my rosters. I only have him on 3 rosters. What's really interesting is typically I'll stash a lot of tight ends in a tight end premium league. And in those leagues that are TEP, I have him on none of those. So I was really surprised to see that. I do know that I expected a little bit more from him last year. Didn't pan out. But again, a lot of tight ends, I think we've gotten to a place where tight ends, and we'll talk a little bit about this and with the other 2 tight ends, I think we've gotten to a place where we expect tight ends to, shine immediately. And there used to be a time where you didn't expect anything from a tight end until year 3. So when these tight ends don't take off in their freshman year, or their rookie season, I think a lot of people start to get down on them right away. I think the next one you're about to falls in that category completely.
Yeah. And just to add that Sanders, we've been spoiled with the Laportas and the Bowers and Trey McBrides. We've been really spoiled, especially with pass catchers in general. So if you need to extrapolate that, take that out and look at the rest of the crew. Those guys like Njoku, we just had Jonnu Smith. Those guys, they take a little bit to mature, and they're not actually in their prime until they're 28, 29 years old. So, but yeah, I do like Ben Sinnott. With the T-Mac holdout, it gives him more repetitions with Jaden Daniels. Ertz is another year older. I was kind of upset that they re-signed him, but I get it. He knows the system. He's a big fan of Jaden Daniels. And Debo is yet declining. He's still a solid producer, but I don't think he's going to be anything that he was over in San Francisco, and they're not going to use him that way either. They already have those type of players in their backfield. His ADP is 313 right now. A little bright side on Sinnott as well. Dan Quinn actually came out and said that he was one of the biggest standouts of this offseason. And I don't know how much, let's say, I wouldn't put all my pennies in the same basket with coach speak, but anything that's positive for Mr. Ben Sinnott would be polishing a TURD because he was on a lot of fantasy guys' radars last year, and he just fell straight through.
Well, I think Ertz performing the way that he did certainly, led to some of the disappointment that Cincinnati owners had, myself included. But Ertz isn't going to be around forever. I mean, he's there obviously this year, maybe next year. And I think at that point, Jaden Daniels was going nowhere. So I think that Mr. Ben is the heir apparent. And I think that if you have him, if you've drafted him or you have him on your roster and you have the roster depth and you have the ability to just stash him away, I wouldn't give him up. I think his fantasy goodness is about to shine. If not later this year, definitely in 26 and 27. So I'm not getting rid of him anywhere that I might have him.
I liken him to Isaiah Likely. I know a lot of people are getting impatient because they have Mark Andrews in front of him. But if you look last year, Isaiah Likely was still, I believe, a top 10 tight end, and his ability and his targets are only going up. And if that's the trajectory that Sinnott has, then that's fine. He's going to be a solid player in year 4, 5, 6 and the second contract.
Agreed.
And then to round it out is my favorite. Save the best for the last. Theo Johnson. So Theo Johnson comes from Penn State, And Penn State had who this year? Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren and Mr. Theo Johnson both had 34 catches apiece in 2023. Not to be outshined by Mr. Tyler Warren, but Theo Johnson had seven tutties. Now, I know touchdowns are not a sticky stat, but nobody in that offense has the ability to rise above everybody else. He's 6'6" and he's 260 pounds. He's a red zone threat for Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson, as we know, likes big framed wide receivers. Go look at DK Metcalf. Go look at Will Dissly right at the tail end of Russell Wilson's career. And then if you want, you can look at last year. He likes those big tight ends and or big slot guys. Not named Tyler Lockett, obviously, but they tend to mesh very well with his play style. And that offensive line is awful. They are going to be checked down to the tight end, checked down to the running back a lot with Russell Wilson. He's a high percentage guy. So there will be a lot of opportunities for Theo Johnson that I like moving forward. And I think he'll have a good year too, much better than year one.
I just have a very difficult time trusting anybody. If your name's not Malik Neighbors, I'm not sure I really want you if you're on the Giants. It's tough.
In all fairness, his ADP is 230.
Yeah.
These guys are not going to be. These are roster stashes on dynasty leagues. If you don't have a very big bench, or if you have very big rosters and you're looking at 14 to 16 teams in your league for tight end premium, these are guys that I would really have on the end and pick them up. You can almost get them for free.
I have to ask you, I know you brought up Brock Bowers. You thought it was cheating to discuss him, but I do have to ask, we've seen a little bit about this sophomore stall when it comes to tight ends who perform very well in their first year and their second year. Obviously, they can't live up to the expectations or to those first year stats. How do you feel Brock Bowers is going to do in his second year relative to his first year? I mean, is he going to follow the footpath, the path of players like Kyle Pitts and Sam Laporta and so on?
I don't think so. Just because of the offensive makeup in that team. If you look what they did down in Atlanta, they added Drake London, right? Drake London, kind of the same skill set as Kyle Pitts. Laporta, he had a very young, immature Jameson Williams, who was suspended for much of the season. And then he thrived in that role. And then if you look at Brock Bowers, they only brought in Jack Besh, who is currently sitting as second team on the depth chart. So I don't see him cutting into anybody over there. They've got Trey Tucker that's running with the first team for OTAs. They also have his name is escaping me right now, Jacoby Myers. Those guys right there are not household names as far as pass catchers. He'll do just fine this year.
Well, and I'm really excited about the Raiders. We talked about that several weeks back, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a few weeks as we feature a lot of the teams all of the teams across the NFL and some of their players that may provide fantasy beyond the top levels. But that is in the future, and that's not now. So we'll talk a little bit more. And I think that Brock Bowers is going to do just fine this year. So
not to mention, if you want to look at the quarterback, Geno Smith is a much better quarterback than whoever Atlanta had thrown the ball to Kyle Pitts or I can't say he's better than Jared Goff, but Geno Smith, he knows how to get the ball to those guys.
Agreed. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they do this year. So, I mean, you may be spot on with these tight ends, and if you are, then one day they're going to receive new contracts that will better their financial position. Their windfall, however, is going to do very little to help commissioners with league finances. So nothing is more frustrating to a league commissioner than league finances. Every commissioner, one time or another, has experienced a GM who has delayed or worse yet, failed to pay fees owed to the league. This is the reason most GMs require prepayment of fees at some predetermined point prior to the draft. Now, years ago, collecting fees was more difficult. It was aggravating hunting down people only for them to say they didn't have any cash or a checkbook. Yes, I said checkbook on them. The advent of money transfer services did help alleviate a lot of that, but those are only conduits for payments, and for myriad reasons, some leagues have transitioned away from those services. Now, there are many leagues out there, especially those that are public or leagues where GMs are not well known to the commissioner, where they've opted for a league vault service. LeagueSafe is the most notable, to handle the collection and payment. Now, regardless of method, essential for any league are established and steadfastly enforced league rules. You're pretty much going to hear me talk about league rules in every single episode we ever have. And I believe in them. And steadfastly enforced league rules regarding payment deadlines are important. And those rules must also have information about the subsequent consequences for missed deadlines. Now, these rules are the bedrock to ensure league finances are handled appropriately. Then the use of traditional money transfer or league vault service methods come into play. Pudge, what do you believe is important for league finances?
I mean, it's a necessary evil, right? If you look at the way that they're doing the vaults now, they're getting dynasty teams to buy in 2 and 3 years, so they're not just dismantling a team and passing it on to the next guy. I agree that there should be repercussions for the guys that don't pay on time, or they don't come out and say, "Hey, look," because things happen, right? I'm going through a time, and it doesn't have to be discussed throughout the league, but you can go to the commissioner and say, "Hey, look, this is what's going on. It give me till this day or whatever." And a lot of these leagues are home leagues for us, and they're people we all know. Some of them are family. It's goes without saying that if you just reach out to somebody, they are more than likely to, not just brush you off and say, "Well, you're going to accept these penalties." Everybody goes through times, and as long as they know the repercussions, or you guys have something drawn out to where they can stay in the league, because nobody wants the league to disband and or to shuffle around GMs constantly. I think it's advantageous for a league commissioner to have some guidelines and or set standard for league funds.
Well, and I agree with you. Someone who is forthcoming and about a situation. I've done it before where I have fronted the money for someone when they've been very open and honest with me, and I have seen or witnessed an effort to cover fees that are due. Again, a lot of times when you have fees that are the standard fees for a league, those are typically paid up front. I believe in all of my leagues now, I require upfront payment for the fees prior to the draft. However, we do have some leagues like Last Bastion where we have numerous fees that are variable. And so there's no way of really knowing what a GM is going to owe until the end of the season. We've talked before about, well, we could everybody make a deposit and then reimburse. And for the most part in that league, it's not that important because once again, we know everybody that's in that league. But I am inclined more so now than ever to require prepayment as much as possible. And in one league that we have, the Dirty Dozen Dynasty Fantasy Football Federation, in that league, we also have a franchise fee. It's something I'd like to see in all of the dynasty leagues that we have. I don't think the franchise fee is enough. I don't think it's punitive enough that it would penalize someone who decides to leave the league. I'd like to see it higher, but for now, it at least is a fee that someone has to make at least some of a commitment in order to have a chance of getting that money back. And that's something I would like to continue to do across all dynasty leagues.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject, right? It's uncomfortable for some of us because we like to have fun. And we also like to, stiff the bill sometimes. But those are few and far between. I think a lot of it is, like you said, just be forthcoming. If you know that something's going to be an issue, bring it up. So it's not such it's not so much of a sticker shock.
Agreed.
You better agree.
So as far as league commissioners, another problem that we have is, on the flip side is when league commissioners who fail to pay the league. Now, when the culprit in poor league finances is the commissioner, him or herself, this is far worse than a rogue GM. The person with the greatest degree of responsibility should be entrusted to ensure the proper collection, remittance, and accounting of league funds. Anything other than precision and adherence to the rules will likely call into question the competence and integrity of the commissioner as it relates to any facet of the league. League rules must also delineate commissioner responsibilities. If the commissioner fails to adhere to these rules, there must be processes for removing that commissioner from the post.
This has actually happened to me twice. It was a work league both times. Both times, the same guy that set it up was not with the league at the end of the year. And we all just chalked it up as a loss. And we were not allowed to have fantasy football in the office anymore. So both of those times was very disheartening. And you got to trust everybody to a certain extent. That's where I like those LeagueSafes that come in, the ones that we've been a part of recently, because it just disperses the money at the end of the season.
Well, and I've lived through this situation early in my commissionership career where we were not collecting fees up front, and you'd get to the end of the season and I'd have a few different GMs who just failed to pony up. And now I'm sitting there scrambling to adjust the payouts to everyone based on those fees. Well, that would cause a lot of issues. It was almost like, hey, this was a guaranteed pool, prize pool for the league. And I had a lot of people very upset with me, expecting that I would pay out what was due based on the assumption that everyone was going to pay. That was something that I learned quickly. And that's when I started ensuring that league rules covered these situations. As you're fully aware, all of my league rules explicitly state that the prize pool will be adjusted by any non-payment. So that's something that, I made very clear. I'm not going to be on the hook for somebody not paying. And as a league, if we want to ensure that doesn't happen, then we have to require prepayment. And that's where we are today on most of in all of our leagues, with the exception of those variable fees, like fees for losses, fees for transactions, and all the other goofy things that we have in some of our leagues. So I will assert that League Vault services may prove beneficial, as often payout of league awards is controlled by the configuration in those leagues. And while there may be potential to manipulate the payout, collected funds are not held by the commissioner. I think that's one of the things that individuals in public leagues, or where they don't know each other very well, I think that, if you're in a public league or you're not familiar with the players, these services provide a level of confidence versus a money transfer. You know where the money is sitting. This confidence, however, comes with a nominal cost. Obviously, these services are not, they're in the business to make money. So there is a cost that comes with that. And so some GMs or leagues, they're just not willing to be subject to these fees. And I think it really, based on how well people know each other and the reputation of the commissioner, GMs have to assess and mitigate the risk as they deem appropriate. Is it worth paying those fees to have this vault service, or doesn't it? In the leagues I commish, I'm not worried about it, so we don't utilize them. But I absolutely fully understand why other leagues use them and why they're wildly successful in managing league finances. So proper league finance, guided by league rules, is mandatory, and also mandatory were the NFL mini camps. So at various times over the last 2+ weeks, NFL teams conducted phase 3 of the offseason program in the form of mandatory mini camps. 31 of 32 teams gathered for no contact conditioning drills and assessment, most meeting for 3 days. The Detroit Lions were the only team that opted to waive minicamp, purportedly because of their involvement in the Hall of Fame game this season. While most ended 8 to 10 days ago, and the Chicago Bears 5 days before that, 5 camps actually concluded within the last 48 hours. Now, minicamps play a significant acclimation role for teams in the NFL, but debatable are the benefits gained for fantasy. There are pockets of useful information that may be gleaned from these events, but overall, what really do you gain for fantasy? So, Pudge, what do minicamps do for you, if anything? You are muted, sir.
They give us something to talk about. Sorry about that. I had somebody's opening the door. So I don't take much other than depth chart. If you look at IDP, no, this is not an IDP podcast, but if you look at IDP depth charts and who is taking the reps on the most important positions, albeit middle linebacker, the big one is center. Who are these guys that are taking the majority of these snaps with the first team? Those are the positions I look at as far as position players. It's guys running around in tights. They don't have very much pads, and if they do, they're just shells. There's no contact. It's not football, but it's nice to talk about. And we all know how Jamar Chase could not catch a football during the preseason, and all of a sudden lit the world on fire the last 3 or 4 years. So take what you will, but those little tidbits of information should be looked at and put into context.
Well, I will tell you, I was very happy that I wanted Jamar Chase badly, and when that started happening and people started fading him, I was like, perfect. And I had him in numerous leagues. Thank you, Mr. Chase.
I mean, that's the one that comes to light the most over the past couple of years of star players that all of a sudden forgot how to catch the ball. Things like that, take with a grain of salt.
So we don't take much from mini camps, but still there are stories. I mean, I'm certain there's numerous stories that come out of mini camp. What are some of the ones that have stuck out to you, or what are some of the notable things, at least for you?
Well, most notable is Trey Hendrickson, still upset with the contract, not practicing. And then you have Terry McLaurin, who's actually sitting out as well. I don't think that really hurts Terry McLaurin too much. But like I said, guys like Ben Sinnott and now Deebo Samuel can take more snaps. I don't know that he needs to, but it will be a very, very limited offseason for Trey Hendrickson. And for those guys on defense, they really need to amp up. They take a lot of hits. They take hits almost every play, and their gameplay is not that great when they haven't taken those hits and they're not football ready. That's when you see them taking a lot of injuries. But you did see that James Cook did show up. He's ready to go. He's not happy with his contract either. Michael Parsons as well, and he got the endorsement from the Jerry Jones that he's going to get paid. So we'll see on that, but he'll be one of the highest paid players ever not to throw ball. Do you have any notable issue type dealies going on?
Well, actually, I want to ask you first. I don't. Why are you talking about Trey Hendrickson? Didn't he retire?
Oh no, that was the other white fella. That was Sam Hubbard on the opposite side of the line.
Okay, so Hendrickson didn't retire. Okay, I just I was in an auction draft and nominated Trey Hendrickson, and it was like he retired. I'm like, wait, what? Unless that happened like an hour before my nomination, I knew that wasn't true. I quite frankly, with Trey Hendrickson, Cincinnati, if you don't find a way to sign him, then I mean that franchise is reminiscent of some of the Lions, decades of Lions mismanagement, letting phenomenal players go.
Bungle's gonna bungle.
You have to. I just don't understand that one whatsoever. So anyway, continue on.
Maybe we can talk to him when we're down to Cincinnati this weekend.
I doubt he's going to be hanging around. Hey, that'd be great, but I don't think we're going to be able to find him.
They made space with Pratt. I don't understand it. They got rid of Pratt, who was their leading tackler last year. Hendrickson led the NFL with sacks, and they still have not signed their rookie, a first-round pick. So their defense is in a world. It's up that creek without a paddle currently, and I don't see it getting any better. They said they opened up contract talks with Trey Hendrickson, and within 8 hours, he said that they don't even have the amount of years correct that he wants to play still. He is 30 years old, and I think Sam Hubbard was also 30. So he may retire. You never know, but I don't see that happening.
Well, I think if you just mentioned it, I missed it. The fact that they're not willing to even pony up the guarantees that he's expecting. Did you already mention that? If you did, I missed it.
No, I didn't mention guarantees, but they can't even agree to the amount of years on the contract. So
yeah. Crazy. Who else you got?
Bo Melton. Bo Melton is converting to corner. I didn't think that we'd have a wide receiver corner combo good to go along with Travis Hunter, but we do. I don't know if it's going to pan out that way. I don't think that Bo Melton is a long for the Green Bay Packers wide receiver room. The fact that he's actually going out and trying to be part of the defense, I mean, I love that. I love the fact that he's probably going to be on special teams and he's going to be a dog. Those are the kind of guys that you want in the locker room that, they'll play any position, do anything to be part of the team and make the team better. And if him being on defense makes the team better after they cut Jair Alexander, then so be it. But they need some help on defense, and Bo Melton's out there trying to scrap for it. So I like that.
A little bit of self-preservation there, considering the depth of the wide receiver room. We still don't know what's going to happen with some of those wide receivers next season, whether we see people moved or go on free agency. But as long as
Watson will be on IR.
Yeah,
Watson will spend his whole year on IR because he got hurt so late.
Yeah.
They have Jaden Reed. They'll have anywhere behind him pretty much.
I mean, if you're Bo Melton, it's being wide receiver, 27 is probably not the ideal position. So I quite get that. So, all right, move
on. We still have you mentioned it at the top. The Lions do not have OTAs, but they do have the Hall of Fame game coming up. So that'll be fun. I did think it was pretty cool that they didn't have anything as far as OTAs. I didn't know if that was normal or not. But for the players coach and reigning champion over there in the weight room, Dan Campbell probably got some more admirers that he can get in the offseason with some stunts like that. I do like that, and I also heard that Ollie Gordon down in Miami is turning heads as far as running backs. I did mention I mentioned their trio of running backs last week with Achane and then Ollie Gordon as the third. But if Ollie Gordon makes this team and he takes over, I will be kudos to that man, because that's going to be a hard position to take over. And I love the fact that he's turning heads down there right now.
Any interesting news with the Aaron Rodgers drama?
No, I don't. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. He's signed. He's there. He's going to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what that looks like, nobody knows, because he doesn't have anybody that has previously played with him that I know of off the top of my head. And he is in a run-centric offense with Arthur Smith. So that is going to be probably a good thing for him. It will limit the balls to Freiermuth and DK Metcalf. I don't think that him going to camp was going to be a huge surprise, but it's nice to see that he finally decided to play football again.
So sticking with the Steelers, I know we already talked about Terry McLaurin and his contract dispute and holding out from camp. In Pittsburgh, also TJ Watt is holding out also because of a contract dispute. Do you believe both in the Watt situation and McLaurin situation that these are just simply formalities, or do you think that there's problems that could arise from this?
I think that Watt will be taken care of, and I think that Terry McLaurin will be taken care of. I think they're a lot different than the Trey Hendrickson situation going on right now. I don't see Washington. I don't see the Commanders going into week 1 without Terry McLaurin. I don't see TJ Watt not being a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers for the next 4 or 5 years. They'll get something done, and now that Aaron Rodgers is in place, they have the money set aside and allocated, and they can actually work on that contract now. But I don't know what the Commanders are waiting for. I know that he'll be 31 years old, Terry McLaurin, that is, when the season starts. And he finally had his breakout year, but he outperformed his contract. He deserves to be rewarded, and hopefully they do, especially with that rookie quarterback salary that they're paying Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, I've already gone on record saying that I'm contrarian when it comes to McLaurin. I think I'm expecting big things from him again this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that the additions that they have are only going to make McLaurin better. I don't expect that Deebo Samuel is going to, steal a lot of share from McLaurin. I think they're going to be complementary, and I think that could also help McLaurin. Re-signing Ertz, I think, also helps McLaurin. The more that you can get away from the coverage on McLaurin, the more you can pull coverage away from McLaurin to cover others, it just opens them up. And as we talked about in the past, McLaurin was a phenomenal red zone target last year. It was more McLaurin, I believe, than Ertz, if you go back and look. But I really hope that, I can't see either one of them not being signed, but stranger things have happened. I guess for both of them, the good thing is they're not in Cincinnati.
I do think that McLaurin he's not going to have the same amount of touchdowns, but his numbers are still going to be up there. I don't see their offense taking a backseat and or regressing very much at all, if at all.
Do you like him Daniels as a low-end wide receiver too, McLaurin?
I like him absolutely. I like him as a wide receiver too. Yes, borderline flex.
Okay. So the information we just talked about, does any of it impact your rankings? I mean, has there been anything that you've seen that it would either significantly catapult them in your rankings or drop them in your rankings due to these camps?
James Cook, it does. James Cook, I actually moved up a couple of spots. I don't like it when running backs miss camp. That's when soft tissue issues become evident. They get hurt more so than normal. I mean, they already take a toll, but when they miss camp and when they're not getting a run with everybody else, it really sets them back. If you look at Le'Veon Bell, there's a couple other ones that we could probably talk about all day long. Guys that have held out, Reggie Bush, all those guys that it takes them a while to get back in the saddle and to get moving. I think Joe Mixon 2 years ago with Cincinnati, it took them a while to get going. These guys need those reps, and they need them early to get them acclimated to football conditioning. So running back is the biggest issue for me if they're sitting out.
Well, let's see how that pans out. So conditioning is a major focus for NFL mini camps, and bottle conditioning is a major focus for some beer styles. Pudge and I are definitely air conditioned in this heat and ready to enjoy our favorite suds. Pudge, why don't you kick us off, because mine's going to take a minute.
Oh, well, mine is a repeat offender.
Uh-oh.
It was so hot today that I went out and I got me some strawberry lemonade Natter Days. for Jeff Crisp and the Fantasy Nobody to ridicule me about because they say it's like drinking water. That doesn't look like water to me.
I'm not going to tell you what it looks like.
This is a clean show, Jeff.
So we love our beer and we drink responsibly. But if you are out, always have a plan for safety before you drink. This week, my beer is a bottle conditioned beer. And bottle conditioned beer is one where additional yeast and sugars are added before the beer is bottled. This additional fermentation does result in increased carbonation and at times an improved and better nose, mouthfeel, and improved flavor. Now, bottle conditioning is rarely ever practiced by macrobreweries, and many craft breweries avoid it. But other craft breweries have embraced it, especially those who brew sours. While several styles benefit from bottle conditioning, the uniqueness of sour beers have brewers often bottle conditioning that style. So out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, today's beer is from one of my favorite breweries, Speciation Artisan Ales. Now, this is a 2019 Trimorphic, a bottle-conditioned barrel-aged sour ale with Rainier, dark sweet, and golden cherries. And this comes in at 8% ABV. Now, I had two bottles. The first we opened on June 13, 2021. My wife was so enamored with it, I was even lucky to get a few ounces, and that often happens with the sours. But today, this bottle is all mine. So I'm going to check this out. And again, the sour beers are incredible. Speciation, a lot of farmhouse ales, sours. They do occasionally make an IPA and a Belgian, but they are well known for their sours and their farmhouse ales. So if you're ever in the Grand Rapids area, please check out Speciation. They were originally from Comstock Park. They moved to their new facility, and it's an incredible place over on the east side of Grand Rapids. So let's give this a shot. Cheers.
Lime.
You know, this is 6 years old and still incredible. Very, 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 very tart.
Not as good as a Natter Day.
Yep. Sure. You continue to go with that, and I will continue to shine with the excellent beers that I present on this show. We love our beer. I love my beer. I don't love his. And we can sometimes drink like fish. But the real fish dominating this weekend is the opening weekend of Scott Fish Bowl 15. Now, for Scott Fish Bowl 15, the first three live drafts begin this weekend. Saturday kicks off with Las Vegas Live at Circus Stadium Swim, followed by NorCal Live at the Shady Lady Saloon in Sacramento. Las Vegas has 5 divisions, 3 beginning at 10 a.m. Pacific and 2 starting 1 p.m. NorCal has 3 divisions, all on the clock at 11 a.m. Pacific. Sunday will feature Cincinnati Live at Fowling Warehouse. 101s in Cincinnati are slapping stickers on draft boards at noon Eastern time, all 10 of them. Yes, Cincinnati boasts 10 divisions this year, as we said earlier in this episode. Pudge and I, along with 3 other Fantasy Now Plus contributors, will be in Cincinnati for the draft. In fact, we're all in the same division, so that should be really fun, especially since we've been in so many drafts together. We already kind of know where we're going to go. I mean, with the different scoring rules, it might be a twist, but I don't know if I want to draft for success or draft just to screw the rest of you up. But that's a decision I'll have to make on Sunday. So, Pudge, you excited for Sunday? I know we already talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the show, but how you feeling?
I'm amped up. This is my first Scott Fish Bowl. I've long time been a fan, and I actually got to meet Scott at the Expo last year. He's a great dude. Real likable, real relatable. And I just really want to get this under my belt, I guess I should say, and kind of see what kind of draft this is going to be with all the scoring as far as receptions. It's going to be fun.
Well, Cincinnati was a lot of fun for me last year. Setting aside Scott Fishbowl for a moment, I was introduced to, I believe the store is called Jungle Gyms. I believe there's 2 locations in the Cincinnati area, and I was introduced to that and their beer selection. And as you know, I love a store with an excellent beer selection, and that rivals one of the stores that we have here in Michigan by the name of Horrocks. That is to me the
Apex.
Epic. It's the best store around. Again, I'm a little bit biased, but Jungle Gyms comes in a close second, and that store, it was really phenomenal. And it was weird because we were sitting in Jungle Gyms, and it felt like we were more in an amusement park. There were so many people that were coming through there, and it was an experience. And hey, maybe you and I will get a chance to stop in there this weekend. But it was a lot of fun. Met some great people, drank some delicious beer. I won a couple raffle items, and then I proceeded to draft a mediocre go nowhere team. It was great. So but again, I wasn't there. Would I love to win? Yes. So would 4,000 other people, 5,000 other people, but only one wins. And in the end, it's all about charity. And that's what I focus on. It's the charity and the camaraderie that you experience with others, the fantasy enthusiasts and the analysts that are in the fantasy realm. And that is what's most important to me. And as Scott Fish Bowl likes to say, and Fantasy Cares likes to say, fantasy community doing good. So I'm also looking forward to seeing what John Bosch, Russ Fisher, Alan Hepworth, Ryan McDowell, and Bill Underwood have in store for us this year in Cincinnati. It's going to be an exciting time. And it's interesting also because this is going to be a draft that not only has a Scott Fish Bowl draft, but there's going to be other activities going on at the same time. So I'm really kind of excited to see how that's going to go down. So speaking of exciting, Pudge, are you excited by this week's installment of A or B?
To be determined. We will see. I don't know if I can, if I'm recovering so well from my Jeremy Shockey / Rob Gronkowski dilemma.
Well, I took it easy on you the first week, and I'm going to take it easy on you again this week. We'll have a little more difficult and provocative A or Bs in the future. But for now, let's continue our series of A and B. I'll present 2 options, and Pudge and I will decide for each of us which option we prefer. Most times these will be football or fantasy related, but not always. So you ready to go?
Let's get it.
All right. The first A or B. A, cheddar, or B, Colby Jack?
Oh, Colby Jack. Hands down. That's it. That's it. Just the Colby Jack. Because you can go Jack.
For me, it's Colby Jack all day long. I slap that stuff on pretty much anything. Cheese goes with everything. Cheese and bacon. Anything you have, you can throw some cheese and bacon on it, and it's going to be incredible. And yeah, Colby Jack is great. I love cheddar. I do. But when it comes to like hamburgers and sandwiches, Colby Jack's my go-to.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Second A or B. You have Chris Olave on your bench, and you received 2 trade offers. Now, for the purpose of this exercise, you must choose one. You can't say, nope, I'm going to decline both. You have to choose.
Oh, no. Okay.
So offer A for Chris Olave, you would receive in 2025 the 2.06, a 2026 round 1, and a 2027 round 2. Now, do you need to write these down? Are you okay?
No, I'm not that slow.
Okay.
I know
Right.
I know it looks like it sometimes, but
well, I'm going to repeat it anyway for you. Offer A is 2025 2.06, 2026 round 1, 2027 round 2.
Round 2.
Okay. Offer B is Jamison Williams, Ricky Pearsall, and a 2026 round 3. Is it A or B? B or A?
B.
Why is that?
Well, 206. Who am I going to get? I'm going to get, is this a one quarterback league?
Yep. We'll go with one quarterback.
And I'm assuming this is a 12 person.
Yep.
206, I'm going to get a shot in the dark horse guy like Cam Scattaboo, maybe a little, no, that would be super flex. You'd get a tight end, you'd get Mason Taylor, maybe. You'd get Jaden Higgins, perhaps. I'll take Jammo over both those guys. I'll take the up and coming Ricky Pearsall, Slick Rick. I'll take him for sure as my sophomore stud last week. And then, yeah, I'll take B all day long.
Well, again, for me, there's a lot of different things a lot of other variables that would come into play for me to really make this decision. I didn't provide those to you, so I'll kind of go with the same information that you had. And I'd probably go B. It was difficult. I was actually, when I came up with this, I went back and forth myself. I don't share the same enthusiasm you do for Pearsall, although I think he's going to do well. Jameson Williams, again, does anybody really know what Jameson Williams is going to become? He's had flashes, and there's been times where you think, okay, he's really going to take off. But I mean, I'm, as a Lions fan, and as a
still very, very young. I think he's actually younger than Olave. So,
and that may be true, but I mean, what is he going to take off? Is he really going to, are you going to get the return on investment that you had for JMO when you drafted him? And that's a question we just don't know. Now, he did come at a less expensive price because of the injuries and the looming
boneheaded play.
Yeah, the stuff that was going on. So I mean, I
do know that
he fell.
Well, he didn't bet on games. You cannot bet on anything while you're inside the stadium practice facility.
Yeah, practice facility is where he was. So
exactly.
In any event, I just don't know what to think. And that 2026 R3 is a throwaway. I mean, you've stated I think in one of your articles on Fantasy Now Plus how difficult it is to get an R3 to pan out. So for me, it's borderline. But now if I'm in need of wide receivers and I can move Olave and get 2 wide receivers, I'll take this all day. If I've got if it's something where I'm in a rebuild, maybe then I'm looking at offer A. But I didn't provide all that information, so I'll go in lockstep with you and go offer B. Okay, the next one. Would you have a redraft league with extremely exciting active live draft followed by numerous ridiculously bad trade offers and GMs who disappear, or B, a redraft league with an online fast draft followed by quiet GMs that always manage their teams and only occasional sound trade offers?
A. Live drafts are that's where it's at. Online drafts, they're cool if you can't be in the same area, but live drafts are it's a different level, it's a different energy, and it's what I look forward to in fantasy.
So does that make up for being hammered by bad trade offers throughout the year?
Absolutely. We've been through live drafts and we've got terrible trade offers throughout the year, and it beats a online church mouse type of atmosphere where nobody talks or nobody engages.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of the GMs who disappear. I threw that in at the end. You don't see that, but I do. And, that can cause problems with the league. But I will take ridiculously bad trade offers all year long versus GMs who just simply do not trade and do not talk. We've talked about this ad nauseum. We want engagement. We want people who are involved in the league. And if I'm at a 12 teamer and I can get 10 other GMs to throw bad trade offers or whatever at me, and I have one GM who happens to not manage your team, I can hound that person in exchange for, but all of that is a cost worth paying for that live draft. There is nothing better than a live draft. I wish all my drafts were live. They can't all be, but when we do our Last Bastion Goal Line Defiance Fantasy Football League live draft, that is an incredible experience. Every so often we have, we have one or two GMs that can't make it. We've played around with certain penalties for that, but unfortunately we have some GMs that are, in other parts of the country. So it has been made difficult. This year, we're going to have all 10 there. That's a 10-team league, that particular one. I'm excited about that because it is going to be an incredible draft. So I'll go A as well. And then finally, A or B, A, Dynasty IDP, or B, Devi, no IDP.
Ooh. How many teams?
12. We'll go with a standard 12. Dynasty IDP or Devi, no IDP.
I love IDP.
I am talking to the draft night out IDP champion from last year in our division. So in the Lawrence, were we in the Lawrence Taylor division? Yeah. Or is Lawrence that what we're Taylor. In this year? I don't remember. Anyway.
Draft night out. Lawrence Taylor division.
It was the Lawrence Taylor division, yeah. So anyway, you are the champion.
I'll take Dynasty IDP because let's be real. I'm just gonna trade my picks for players anyway.
Well, you're going to trade everything. There is not a single asset you are not going to trade at some point. Like I said, given enough trade offers, your like we said last week, your roster would completely turn over in days. This one's hard for me because I love IDP, but I'm really fascinated with Devi, and unfortunately, I'm only in one or two Devi leagues. I don't even know. I can't keep track. And I think 2 Devi leagues is what I'm in. Am I in 3? See, I don't even know what I'm in. I really like that format. I'm not in any way, shape, or form ready to go the route of Campus to Canton. Although I am in the Scottfish, Tadpole Bowl. And
say that 5
so
times
that's
fast.
Yeah, no thanks. It's already gonna be painful enough just being in the league. I am not a college aficionado by any stretch. I have to do a lot of research and a lot of reading. And I already said before, this is going to be a cheat sheet draft for me. No questions asked when we get into that one. But I like Devi, and I really want to be involved more. But I love IDP. I think I would go A, Dynasty IDP.
You're a copycat.
Yeah, well, I am.
I see
we agreed. I think we agreed on all of those, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
I have to look at my life choices now.
Yeah, I would do that.
They're aligning with the fantasy nobody.
Yeah, same. All right, Pudge, where do we find you?
I'm Pudge, and I'm at FF LaPage at FantasyNowPlus.com on Blue Sky, and FF_LaPage over on X.
And for me, I am FF_Commish_YIS on X. I am FFCommishYIS.FantasyNowPlus.com on Blue Sky, and FFCommish_YIS on Discord. So I want to thank the audience for listening. Our next episode will be Friday, June 27. We will be live at 3 p.m. Eastern and noon Pacific. Catch up on episodes of Fantasy Studs and Suds and your other favorite Fantasy Now Plus shows here on YouTube, YouTube Music, Apple Music, and Spotify. Also, follow the Fins Talk Sports Network here on YouTube. Follow some Fantasy Now Plus on Discord, TikTok, Blue Sky, and subscribe to this channel here on YouTube. Until next time, for CJ Pudge LaPage, I'm Jeffrey Crisp. Be good, be kind, and be responsible, and cheers.
See ya.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.